Hello, everybody. My name is Corbin Snyder, and I'm a consultant with MCM Consulting Group. Today, we'll be discussing the Monroe County Hazard Mitigation Plan update, specifically the risk assessment section of the plan. During this presentation, I'll be discussing what exactly is hazard mitigation planning. We'll be discussing the update process, discussing the risk assessment section, the next steps, and a conclusion for you all. So, why is hazard mitigation planning necessary? Well, it has to do with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, which amended the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act. In short, it requires all local jurisdictions to have a mitigation plan in place in order to receive certain types of disaster assistance and hazard mitigation funding. The current 2016 Hazard Mitigation Plan was adopted and promulgated by the Monroe County Commissioners. Municipality involvement was at 100% the last go around, which would ultimately be our goal for this plan update. And it was used as support for pre-disaster and or post-disaster funding since promulgation. Hazard mitigation plans are required to be updated every 5 years. The update process is continuous. And when I say that, I mean that once the plan is at the APA level by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, it doesn't just go away, it should be visited quite frequently. All plans are reviewed annually. The county reviews all mitigation actions. Municipalities provide progress reports on projects opportunities, and we capture any major emergency or disaster information, and then send a progress report on down to the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency on an annual basis. The Monroe County was able to secure a mitigation grant, which ultimately led to them hiring us, MCM Consulting Group. The local planning team was developed, and the kickoff meeting was on February 4th, 2021. The local planning team is composed of a variety of individuals that are quite knowledgeable of Monroe County. We say this a lot during our meetings where, you guys as Monroe County residents know your towns the best compared to us that live elsewhere in the state. The update process consists of the capability assessment, the risk assessment, mitigation strategy, and then drafting the entire plan. Municipality involvement is absolutely crucial to hazard mitigation. Each municipality is asked and required to submit what's called a capability assessment survey, where we measure any gaps or weaknesses that may exist. Each municipality is asked to complete what's called a hazard identification worksheet, where we ask you guys to give us a little analysis of each hazard that exists in Monroe County and how that hazard has affected your county in the last 5 years. And then we provide the opportunity to allow you guys to submit what's called a mitigation opportunity form, which has to do with any type of project that would overall benefit Monroe County and public safety in your jurisdiction. Municipalities are also asked to provide any input on the draft plan, participate in meetings, and then eventually adopt the county plan as the municipal plan once APA status is achieved. The public is absolutely important to hazard mitigation planning as well. The public is asked to identify any hazard areas in your municipality, participate in surveys and assessments, provide input into the draft plan, participate in meetings, and visit the hazard mitigation plan website at that link at the very bottom of the screen right now. Definitely something I encourage all residents in Monroe County to take a look at to see what we're trying to accomplish with this whole plan update. So MCM has a whole entire staff dedicated to updating this entire plan and updating what's called the hazard profiles, where we're noting and documenting any past presidential or county or municipal disaster declarations that have taken place throughout the years. For example, looking at severe winter storms, January 2016 was really bad. So was March 2017. We're looking at flash flooding, where I think we all know that Hurricane Sandy was very, very detrimental throughout the entire Commonwealth. We're looking at previous flooding events. We're developing a list of natural and human-caused hazards for this plan update. Some of the previous hazards that were included in the last go around was flooding, winter storms, drought, wildfire, and more. Again, go ahead and look at that last plan that's posted on that website on the previous slide to get an idea of what else was covered. Some new hazards that were for this plan update include emergency services shortage. So we're talking about the effects of our fire departments and EMS agencies having a lack of volunteerism. Next one was opioid and substance abuse, and the last one was cyber terrorism slash incidents. We utilize a hazard identification and risk evaluation worksheet, which is completed by all municipalities, and the county also completes the same worksheet as well. So for profiling hazards, like I said, we have a whole staff of dedicated individuals that are writing each one of these hazard profiles. We're identifying the location and geographic extent of each hazard that is selected. We're utilizing mapping and local knowledge. Again, we're kind of picking the brains of the people that sit on the local planning team for this as well. We're defining the range and magnitude using scales and measuring tools. We're defining intensity and impact. We're looking at past occurrences. We're looking at dates and impact through things such as Knowledge Center, if anyone is familiar with that. We are establishing probability of future occurrences based on past occurrence frequency and things like the special flood hazard area, previously known as the 100-year flood data. And then we're determining environmental impacts. Almost all hazards out there have secondary impacts that can be detrimental to the environment, such as flooding causing polluted streams, tornadoes causing scattering of debris over large areas, and droughts killing crops and trees. We're looking at an inventory and summarizing vulnerable assets such as existing buildings, critical facilities, new developments that may be taking place in Monroe County, hazardous material facilities, utility systems, and we're also utilizing GIS systems. We're looking at high risk groups such as the elderly population, children, and special needs. And flooding hazards, we're utilizing flood insurance rate maps. We're developing maps of critical facilities and impacted structures as well. We're creating an estimate loss. So we're determining potential dollar loss estimates for hazards such as flooding. We're utilizing assessed values from county records. And we're utilizing what's known as HAZIS, which is a software provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We are developing risk factors for each hazard. I'm going to talk about that here in the next slide, which relies on historical data, relies on local planning team knowledge, and let's look at that real quick. So this is the risk factor assessment tool. This is provided straight from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and is used for almost any hazard mitigation plan that exists out there, I'd say. So we sat down as a local planning team and we looked at each one of these categories here you see on the left, the probability, the impact, spatial extent, warning time, and duration. We then moved over to the next category. So probability, is it unlikely, possible, likely, highly likely? Impact, is it minor, limited, critical, catastrophic? Spatial extent, and so on and so forth. Moved on to the criteria for each one of these, which is associated with these numbers, which are then selected. And these are your weighted values for each of the numbers that determines this right here. So again, we just had to go back and forth between this, developing what's called a risk factor score. So for example, this is one that was done by the local planning team for flash flooding 43342, utilizing this right here to develop this risk factor score. So these are our high risk hazards that are included in the plan update. These are our moderately risk hazards in the plan update. And here are your low risk hazards. So for some of the next steps with hazard mitigation planning, right now we are working in the background as a local planning team to develop the mitigation action plan. So we're looking at goals, objectives, and actions that were included in 2016 plan and anything new that's going on. We're developing that mitigation action plan. Um, the plan is going to be open for public comment at a tentative date of June 22nd through July 22nd. For 30 days, it'll be available there for public comment. Then it's sent on down to the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency around the week of July 26th. Those guys down there at PEMA don't usually take long, maybe a week. Then it's sent on down to FEMA, um, which they tend to take a lot more time. And then after that comes county and municipal adoptions, in which everyone gets directions on that, assuming that you guys have participated in the update process. So that's all I had for you guys today. Just kind of a quick little presentation for you all of what we're working on in the background here. Again, we're working on drafting the entire plan, and we have a very good and diverse plan already put together for you guys. If anybody has any questions, again, my name is Corbin Snyder. That is my direct phone line right there, 717-460-1733. Please give me a call if you have questions, or email me there at the email address at the very bottom of the screen. Thank you all very much for watching today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.